History often remembers wars through heroic speeches, dramatic paintings, and triumphant parades. But behind every famous war lies a hidden layer of secrets, political manipulation, and untold truths. Today, we uncover the shocking reality behind one of the most famous conflicts in British history, the Crimean War. A war remembered for bravery and tragedy, but rarely understood in its full complexity. The Crimean War began in 1853 and lasted until 1856. Officially, it was fought between the British Empire, France, the Ottoman Empire, and Russia. The public was told that Britain entered the war to defend the balance of power in Europe and to protect the weakening Ottoman Empire from Russian expansion. But the truth behind this justification was far more complicated. At its core, this war was not just about defense, it was about power, influence, and control over strategic trade routes. Russia wanted access to warm water ports and greater influence over territories controlled by the Ottoman Empire. Britain, fearing the expansion of Russian power, believed that its own global dominance, especially its routes to India, was under threat. The stakes were not simply territorial. They were imperial. British newspapers at the time fueled patriotic excitement. The war was portrayed as a noble struggle against aggression. But many political leaders were divided. Some believed the war was rushed. Others feared the consequences of entering a costly European conflict. Behind closed doors, intense debates took place in Parliament, revealing cracks in the united front shown to the public. When British troops arrived in Crimea, they were not prepared for the brutal reality they faced. Poor planning, outdated leadership, and supply failures created a disaster waiting to happen. Soldiers lacked proper winter clothing, medical supplies were insufficient, and communication between commanders was chaotic. The battlefield became a symbol not just of bravery, but of mismanagement. One of the most famous events of the war was the charge of the Light Brigade during the Battle of Balaclava in 1854. Due to a misunderstood order, hundreds of British cavalry soldiers charged directly into heavily defended Russian artillery. It was a mission that should never have happened. The result was devastating. Nearly half the brigade was killed, wounded, or captured. Yet in Britain, the event was romanticized as an act of glorious courage rather than acknowledged as a tragic mistake caused by leadership failure. The war also exposed shocking conditions within military hospitals. Soldiers were dying not only from bullets but from disease. Cholera, infections, and poor sanitation claimed thousands of lives. This is where one remarkable figure changed history, Florence Nightingale. Arriving in Crimea, she transformed battlefield medicine. Through discipline, hygiene reforms, and statistical analysis, she drastically reduced death rates. Her work marked the beginning of modern nursing and healthcare reform. But it also highlighted how preventable many deaths had been. Another hidden truth of the Crimean War was the power of the media. For the first time, war correspondents reported directly from the battlefield. Journalists like William Howard Russell sent uncensored accounts back to Britain, exposing incompetence and suffering. The public was shocked. For the first time, ordinary citizens saw the brutal cost of war in near real time. This marked the birth of modern war reporting. Politically, the war led to the fall of governments. Public anger grew as reports revealed waste and failure. Confidence in leadership weakened. The conflict that was supposed to strengthen British influence instead exposed vulnerabilities within the empire itself. When the war ended in 1856 with the Treaty of Paris, there was no clear victor. Russia temporarily lost influence in the Black Sea, but the larger political tensions in Europe remained unresolved. In many ways, the Crimean War planted seeds for future conflicts, including the geopolitical rivalries that would later contribute to World War I. So why is this story rarely told in full? Because nations prefer narratives of heroism over stories of error. It is easier to celebrate bravery than to confront political misjudgment. The soldiers who fought were courageous beyond doubt. But the decisions that placed them in harm's way were often flawed. The untold story behind this famous British war reminds us that history is never simple. Behind every celebrated charge and patriotic poem lies a deeper reality shaped by ambition, fear, and human imperfection. The Crimean War was not merely a battle for territory. It was a turning point in journalism, medicine, and political accountability. And perhaps that is the most powerful lesson of all: wars are not only fought on battlefields. They are fought in government chambers, newspaper offices, and hospital wards. They are shaped by leaders, but endured by ordinary people. The next time you hear about a glorious war, remember the hidden layers, the untold story, the silent suffering, and the decisions made far from the front lines. Because history is not just about what we are told. It is about what we choose to